All right, can you say that again, Shando?
Alright. What we do is we take the standard tap water,
Okay.
introduce it into the unit, but in order to introduce more cations and anions, we introduce a brine solution at a set dose rate.
Yes.
We don't overdose it, so I think it's about
To just get the conductivity
just
going.
to get the conductivity up. And then
Sodium chloride.
So we've introduced the tap water and your brine solution into the reactor, and then what we do is we basically, between your cathode and your anode, you then basically separate the different ions to generate your catholyte, which obviously is more like a sodium hydroxide.
Yes.
And then the other side is your analyte, which is basically a hypochlorous acid, which is introducing your chlorides with your hydrogen. So we're basically taking the H2O, which has hydrogen and oxygen, and then introducing additional chloride to the one side with extra hydrogen, and then the other side you're looking at just having an OH negative.
Yeah, we call it the hydroxyl ions, the negative OHs, and then the positive hydrogens.
That's it.
Yeah.
So that leads us to have a brilliant oxidizing agent, and then, like a degreasing agent with your hydroxide components.
Oh yeah.
And then what we can do with the unit is that we can regulate how much we actually blend with each other, because we can generally generate a very acidic analyte, which has a very high RP.
Yes.
Which is a
very positive
agent and cleaning agent.
Yes.
And then then obviously we generate zero catholyte.
Is it zero or it's probably negative even, right?
We split them totally.
Is the catalyte probably negative ORP?
We split them totally, and then we'll generate a very high ORP this side and a very low ORP, basically like a negative 900 ORP.
Oh wow.
And then if we, for your different purposes, we then blend a little bit of catholyte into the analyte.
Yeah, if you don't need it as strong.
You want it to be. We generally don't want to go over pH of 7, because as you start going higher than 7, the actual efficacy of the analyte is compromised.
Yes.
So you want to keep it ideally between probably 5.5 and 6.5 as a cleaning agent. If you go anywhere below that, it gets quite aggressive as well. So steel and all those other things works well for wound care and all this. Because it's such a good oxidizing agent.
Yes.
So this little.
So you're able to like make the ORP, the oxidation potential, high or more oxidation, yet not make the pH too aggressive unless you want to.
It goes about 2.5, between a pH of 2.5 and 3.
Yeah.
We get an ORP of about 1,200 millivolts.
Yep. Yeah.
And as we increase the pH to about 5.5, 6.5, then we're probably looking at about 900.
Wow.
And then on this side, we start off with negative 900 if we generate.
Yeah, so that's a tad stronger than ours, for sure.
Which is not as strong as your standard hydroxide that you get from your chemical suppliers.
Yeah.
But you can use it, you can touch it, you can actually, generating it on site is the biggest thing for us now with industrial clients. People that have used hypochlorite and chlorine before, we can generate an analyte for them. And whereas the guys that have used caustic before as drain cleaners or in their process for increasing pH, the biggest thing for us is that we can generate all of this on site. There's no more storing chemicals, transporting your chemicals. The actual dealing with this chemical is far less hazardous. I mean, literally, you can drink this. Drink this,
totally, I've drank both.
It still does the same job as chlorine or hypochlorite.
Unbelievable.
Which you wouldn't even think about drinking.
Oh yeah.
So that's a big thing for us, is the environmental aspect, and then all the logistical, money-saving aspects around generating it on site. This little unit, this is probably the smallest unit you can get, which does about 20 liters an hour.
Yeah.
Everything is PLC controlled. We measure the flow rate, the conductivity, the pressure. If any of those parameters are not within spec, it shuts the unit down, because obviously it affects the quality of the product.
Yeah.
So if you've got no flow or low flow, switches off. If you've got high pressure, low pressure, switches off. And if your conductivity is too low or too high, switches off. So this little unit's got all of those things in place. And then obviously, as you know, as you generate your different chemicals, we get a bit of a scale build up in here, because depending on the hardness of the water, the harder your water is, the more scale build up you'll get in here.
Yeah.
So all we do then is we've got a little an acid dosing pump. Mix up a 5% solution of hydrochloric acid.
Yes.
And you put them on a little acid rinse. Descales the unit.
Yeah.
Rinse it out with water.
We clean our machines with a little citric acid powder that we let just soak.
Yeah.
Citric acid water.
You put this on and it runs a little 15-minute cycle.
Oh yeah.
Descales, and depending on how hard your water is, like for us, we probably only need to do that every couple of months.
Yeah.
Just to keep it in service and that.
Yeah.
And then every time we shut down, we just give it a water flush, just to make sure you're not sitting with that heavy analyte in your cell.
Yes,
that's such a heavy
that's what, every time we use ours, it does an automatic cleaning where it has to flush it kind of out. How much? Like, what did it cost to either manufacture this or to buy it or assemble it? Like,
we've
what?
only just got involved with this setup.
Yeah.
So what we're actually doing, we're talking with the supplier now because all the stuff's imported.
Okay.
We're actually looking at quoting them on to manufacture for them in South Africa.
Oh,
so
okay.
They'll bring. We won't do the cells. The cells are obviously a proprietary component.
Yeah.
So the company will still bring those in, but the rest of it we'll look at manufacturing in-house over here.
Okay.
So we'll see how it goes. And at the moment, the units are fairly expensive. So what we look at doing for industrial clients is we basically lease them to them. So we'll put a system in at no cost to you.
Yeah.
And then what we'll do is we'll do like a cost analysis and show you how much you, compared to what you would have done on your normal chemical buy-ins, on your transport, your storage, your handling costs, the actual cost of the product, and the efficacy. I mean, this is also far more efficient than some of the other products the guys are using.
Yeah.
And it's all generated on site using salt and water. So we do a whole cost analysis for them, and we say it's actually cheaper for you to just rent the unit from us, generate your stuff on site, than buying in from another chemical.
All these chemicals,
You know, having the problems of if you run out of stock, having to find stock and all those sort of things, you can just generate it on site.
And then, I mean, but if somebody tried to buy something like this, it would probably cost, what, 300,000 Rand? Or
a little system like this is going to be easily sort of 200,000 Rand or so.
200,000 Rand.
A once-off capital cost is quite expensive.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
So it's like 25,000 American dollars or something like that.
Yeah, about 20,000,
20,000 plus.
Directly.
Yeah.
So, but with it being an industrial unit, I mean, this unit's there to run for years on end, generating products. So your return on investment does pay itself off.
Oh, yeah.
But you need to be an industrial customer, and you can see what we've generated in the last couple of
years. It
makes
makes sense. I mean, we have these charts for show, for home use. There's like 30 different products that these waters replace, and so that's amazing. So you're saying the same thing for manufacturing plants and things, that it's in a not only replace them but save massive costs and be way better for the environment.
And then for obviously the smaller guys that can't afford to pay or get a unit, or it's not economically viable for them to actually lease a unit, then guys like us will then just produce and supply them 200-litre drums, 25-litre drums.
Sure.
So you just fill up drums like this and then supply you 5 drums a week or whatever it is, whatever you need. And then that just ticks us over for the small stuff. And then the bigger guys that actually warrants putting a unit like this in, then you put a unit in for them.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Shando.
No problem.
This is a big bad boy right here. Man, that's a lot.